almost in the nick of time to hang out with my early bird crew. Y'all are getting a girl spoiled on these early morning shows. This might become a thing, if you know what I mean. Woo! Wouldn't that be something? I actually enjoy it. Do you all? But you know why we're doing it right now. For Lindsay Clancy, the case going on, because people want to watch the trial. That's the reason I didn't do the Throwback Thursday yesterday. I was like, nah, if today's the last day, I'm going to watch this. But as it always goes with court, they never start on time. They never end on time. Lunch is never an hour. It's crazy. But yeah, I had an emergency and I had to run out. I needed a vape. I was talking to Jules and I said, I got to run out and get a vape before the show. Well, my friend at the store, she didn't have the store open yet. So anyway, she couldn't ring me up. So I just chatted with her for a little while. And so I just texted a couple people and I'm like, I'm going to be a little bit late. So anyway, not too bad, not too shabby. And it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Let's tell everyone good morning. All 15 of you, please hit the like. Cece said, vape stat. Vape stat. This case is stressing us out. Gotta have my vape. And my friend Sue knows me way too well. She was like, you're not getting any beer today, Brex? I said, excuse me, look at me. I told you I'm trying to lose weight, Sue. I'm taking that shot in my stomach once a week and everything. I said, I am withering away right in front of you. And she died laughing. She'll tell every customer that comes in today. It's so weird. She's crazy. I love her. All right. I also love Ashley Banfield because the internet pissed her off. Look at her go. Woo. Look at her go.
Please stop saying that Patrick did it. Please. That's fucking crazy.
Plaidfield, you know, we used to call her Beigefield because all she used to wear was beige, and now she's mixing it up. She wears lumberjack shirts. She threw down the F-bomb. That's effing crazy.
Please stop saying that Patrick did it. Please. That's fucking crazy. If you follow the testimony, if you follow the evidence, if you've even looked at some of the digital evidence, Patrick didn't do this. For those of you who say, but he got married just a couple days after the kids died. No, he didn't. So please stop. Please stop saying that Patrick.
No, he got married sometime after. And yeah, the woman looks a lot like Lindsay. Not gonna lie, Patrick has a type. And, you know, some people, when they're going through hell, they will jump out of the frying pan into the natural gas fire. And yesterday was wild. All those women outside wearing pink for Lindsay. Some had custom-made shirts on. Stand with Lindsay. I couldn't go that far, but like I was talking to Jules and Ange yesterday, in order for me to go to a protest, I need supplies, you know, like I'm going to need my vape. I'm going to need my phone totally charged. I need cool people with me. I need snacks, you know, so you probably wouldn't count me in on something like that. Some people are really offended by this. I'm not. They were being very peaceful. This was organized by some women's group in the greater Boston area. And they picked yesterday because it was assumed that yesterday was the last day of trial. Well, it wasn't. It looks like today, possibly Monday, will be the last day. Closing arguments, we're looking at Tuesday. Then the jury has it. Whew. So let's look at the rally they were having. Tell you what, we can all find something in this case to agree on. And I'm just going to say, I feel really bad for Patrick's mom and his dad. You know, they did everything that they could to help this young couple. They did everything. I'm not saying that her parents didn't. I'm not saying that at all. I just don't understand why the prosecutors, hey Rexy, find it necessary to beat up on the family members. And this kind of stuff is going around. Could the jury honestly vote not guilty just because these two prosecutors have pissed them off since July 27th? Again, it's the greater Boston area. You can't tell me there's not another practicing Catholic on that jury. And when she got that little remark in that day, I understand you're Catholic. I wouldn't have answered, but obviously she was put on the spot and she's like, yes. So you know murder is a mortal sin. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go.
At 7:33, we are expecting a large rally right now outside the courthouse in Plymouth. People will be gathering there and around the country to show support for Lindsay Clancy.
It all comes after jurors heard.
May I say that this woman's dress is absolutely incredible. That neckline is to die for. And I wouldn't wear a necklace with it either. The neckline speaks for itself. All right, that's enough fashion business with Brooks.
From one of the key witnesses for the defense, a forensic psychologist. NBC 10's Manash Kwangwari joins us from Plymouth. Manash, have people really started to gather there?
Well, we mentioned we were expecting to see a significant amount of people, but you take a look at how many people have gathered here so far. I mean, this is more than 100 people here outside of the courthouse.
Okay, so we got some dudes out there who didn't dress their husband properly. He's got on red. That'd be some stupid shit my husband would do. Damn it.
And again, I've been here almost every single day of court. This is the first time we've seen this type of showing of support. You can see just how many people dressed in pink, hand in hand, united, all in support of Lindsay Clancy. They're to stay behind this yellow flag here, and really, they're only here just to show support. None of these people are going to be inside the courtroom.
That lady's got on pink scrubs. She's out there to show support before she goes to work. Or maybe she just got off their shift. And I really liked it. I saw a Facebook reel. They talked to several of the people that were out there and they said, we are not in support of her killing her children. No, 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 no. We are in support of what was done to her by the medical system. We all can agree that killing Cora, Dawson, and Callan was bad. Bad, Lindsay. That was horrible.
Just to show all of the support that Lindsay Clancy has. And of course, this comes after what was a tense day inside the courtroom. We heard from a forensic psychologist who, aside from the doctors that prescribed Lindsay Clancy medication, I mean, this might have been one of the most important witnesses because, well, he heard Lindsay Clancy say that a voice came into her head, forcing her to commit the acts. Lindsay strangled her 3 children to death before attempting.
She had been talking about intrusive thoughts for months. Now, I get intrusive thoughts, but it's always like, I don't want to do laundry today. Okay, I'm going to do laundry today. No, I'm going to put it off. Damn it. If I do laundry today, then I got to put the shit up. I don't want to do laundry today. That's the kind of shit that goes through my little hamster on the wheel. Her intrusive thoughts, as we know, very different and very scary. And we're still seeing comments of people saying she should have had more help. Listen, if they couldn't find the help, they hired the help. She had help. She didn't have the right type of help from the medical professionals, is what it appears to be right now.
To kill herself. She says she did it because of a postpartum psychosis episode due to being over-medicated. Therefore, she is not responsible. Well, during that episode of psychosis, Lindsay said that voice came into her head and told her to do it. She told that to her husband, Patrick, in the days after the killings over the phone. Well, that was the first and last time she says she heard that voice. But there was something else about that conversation that stuck out to the prosecution.
Did she ask about the kids?
She did not, as I recall.
And here's the thing about this rally. This is one of many that are expected all across the country. In fact, we even saw a flyer of a rally happening in the Netherlands. A lot of these people don't even live here in Plymouth. We actually spoke to one person who drove an hour, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is just an indication of how much support Lindsay Clancy has. For right now, though, we're live here in Plymouth. Manoj Kongwari, NBC 10 Boston.
And they asked K-Red as he was coming through yesterday, is Lindsay aware of all this support? He goes, I haven't talked to her yet, but yeah, I'm sure she is. So she has, information from the outside. Stacy said, my intrusive thoughts are not good, but never harm towards others. Nope. Radio God said, mine are usually funny. Well, you're a funny girl. That's for sure. I got quite a kick out of the chaplain yesterday. She wasn't waiting to be asked questions. She just wanted to tell her story. And poor Reddington had to tell her a couple times, like, no. He was basically getting to this. I ask, you answer. So if you missed it, check it out. This is streaming from CBS News, Boston. I like her. She's a pretty lady. She's very well put together. She was patient. You can tell she has compassion for the entire situation, not just Lindsay.
Good morning. Just face Madam Clerk, raise your right hand, please.
So the testimony of the evidence you submit to the court. Sorry, not coming between the Commonwealth and the Territory, but the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Yes. Thank you. You're gonna have to see.
Just watch your step right there. All right, well, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right, I just ask you to speak into that microphone and keep your voice up so the jury can hear you. Attorney Reddington.
I don't know anything about the Catholic religion. My husband claims to be Catholic, but he can't answer my questions. I thought it was illegal for a priest, a chaplain, anyone in the Catholic Church to repeat anything that has been said to them by a parishioner, a confession sort of thing. Obviously not, because she's on the stand. I'm learning something new every day.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you tell us your name and spell your last name, please?
My name is Sheila Kavanaugh, Cavanaughh.
And what town do you live in?
I live in the town of Belmont, Massachusetts.
And what are you doing for work now?
I am a board certified chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston.
And I didn't know that there were board certified chaplains. What does that mean?
Well, to become board certified, you need minimally a master's degree in theology or divinity. You need to complete 1,600 hours of training post your master's degree. 1,200 of those hours occur in a clinical setting, and 400 of those hours are in a classroom setting where we study various disciplines: psychology, sociology, philosophy, theology, and ethics.
Oh, well, duh. Rexy said, I'm not sure she's Catholic. I just assumed since Patrick's family is so Catholic that she wouldn't naturally be Catholic. But never thought about that. Lindsay may not be Catholic. Karma Libra said the chaplain's creeping her out. I love when Karma comes in with those booms.
Beyond that training, we need to acquire 2,000 hours of additional clinical training before we can even apply for board certification. And we have to demonstrate mastery of 30 competencies before we go to a national board and they make the assessment. I also need an ecclesiastical endorsement. And in my case, that was from the Archdiocese of Boston, from Cardinal Sean O'Malley.
And before you,
Okay, that's pretty Catholic. The Archdiocese of Boston, Sean O'Malley, that's pretty Catholic. So we're going to go ahead and say she's a Catholic chaplain that goes to the hospital. She was doing the 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. shift to be there with Lindsay. I've never had shit like that for me. Never. And I've been in the hospital several times. Guess I'd never asked for it though either.
obtained the board certification in your education to allow you to be a chaplain. What did you do for work?
Prior to becoming a chaplain, which is a second career for me, I was a senior vice president at Fidelity Investments in Boston.
And how long were you senior VP at Fidelity?
16 years.
And are you married?
I am.
You have a family?
I do. My husband and I are the parents of 4 adopted children. When I was pursuing my master's degree at Boston College, it was a 3-year master's, but it took me 5 years because we adopted our 4th child while I was in graduate school. She was a 14-year-old girl from Bogota, Colombia.
And
boy, she wants to be in the Netflix series really bad, doesn't she? He just said, are you married? The answer is yes. Do you have a family? Yes. You don't need to add in all the extras, okay? You just don't. You just don't. My goodness, Karma said, she's saying she's all that in a bag of chips. Good morning, Karma.
how long have you been working now as a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital?
7 years.
In the course of your duties as a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital, did circumstances bring you in contact with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes, they did.
Can you tell the jurors what happened?
I arrived on the morning of Wednesday, January 25th, 2023. I arrived at approximately 8:30 that morning because I was there to relieve the overnight chaplain who was carrying the pager. I was taking over the pager shift, which went from 9 to 1 p.m., although I was working a full day. When I arrived that morning, she said to me, "Did you hear the news?" And I...
Okay, so...
Sustain.
Okay.
So you...
Poor Reddington had to object to his own witness. Okay, there is nothing funny about this trial at all. We understand the gravity of it. 3 children they were murdered, okay? There's no other way of looking at it. They've been killed. But when you hear the defense attorney, one of the best in the country, object to his own witness, like, okay, stop. And the judge is just like, yeah, sustained. Like, you don't even have to say it. It's like she wants to tell the whole story. I'm surprised she didn't tell everybody what she had for breakfast. So when I got there, they said, "Did you hear?" And he goes, "Well,
You got to object, so you can't say what someone told you, okay? That's hearsay?
Okay.
Okay. So I can say, as a result of the conversation with that person, what happened?
I was summoned to the director of spiritual care's office.
Did you have a conversation with her?
I did.
All right. And as a result of that conversation, what did you do?
I went to Unit 8C in the Tower building of Brigham to meet with Lindsay Clancy.
And what time of day was this?
Roughly between 8:30 and 9:30 that morning.
And when you went in to see Lindsay, what did you observe?
Well, the unit itself was filled with law enforcement officers, both outside the doors of the unit. There was Brigham security, but the unit itself was flooded.
This upsets some people. Okay, this upsets some people that they had law enforcement there. Well, it's because she has been charged with first-degree murder ×3, or they know the charges are coming. Yes, she's paralyzed. Yes, she's not going to jump up and run out. That's not the point. They have to do that. Do you guys remember Ryan Davis? I did several shows about him. We have a whole playlist on him. His stepdad tried to himself in jail. He got to the hospital and he was technically brain dead. They still had officers in the room and outside the room. Don't ask me why. I don't assign these people to tell them where to be.
There were people from Plymouth County, Boston City Police, Brigham Security. So I had to make my way through concentric circles of law enforcement to even get to the room. I was permitted to see Lindsay, although she could not speak at that time.
And what was her condition that you observed?
She was dressed in medical armor. She had tubes. She was intubated. She had bandages. She had a neck brace. She was just covered and layered in equipment that enabled her to breathe.
I'm showing you Exhibit 121 and asking, this may be South Shore, or it could be Brigham and Women's, but is this indicative of what she appeared to be when you first saw her?
That looks like it's from South Shore because...
Okay, I'm looking at the picture. Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. It looks like she has a dress on, like her personal clothes, and then obviously then they had to change her. That's the reason I have a big problem with the state. People call it the Commonwealth, but you know what I mean? The prosecutor's saying, like, really not that big of a deal. She had some, like, scratches on her neck and on her arms, and then she, like, shimmied down out of the window. No, she tried to kill herself, okay? She did. She's paralyzed. It's a wonder she's alive.
Yes.
Did she have the same?
Similar.
Very similar?
Very similar.
That?
Yes, very similar.
Did you see her again on another date?
I did. I saw her the next day. Again, she could not speak. She was intubated as well. That was the first week that she was hospitalized.
When was the next time that you saw her?
The next time I saw her was the following week. I have a calendar here of my visits. I saw her on Tuesday, January 31st, and she had been extubated at that point so she could speak.
So the tube had been removed. She was able to communicate, and that was on January 31st?
I believe she was extubated the weekend of the 28th, but I didn't work that weekend, so I saw her on Tuesday, the 31st.
All right. Tell the jurors what you observed and what, if any, conversation you had with Lindsay on the 31st. And let me ask you, how long had it been that they removed the tube?
Perhaps a day or two.
A day or two. Okay. Tell the jurors what she said to you.
She continued to look like the photograph you just saw. She was covered, tubes everywhere, the neck brace. Her emotional state was very neutral, a flat affect. But I remember vividly the first thing she said to me. Now, she had heard me for a couple of days. We had been praying together. And so when I went in on Tuesday, the 31st, she said to me as I held her hand to comfort her, "I am so glad my children are safe."
Okay. She is testifying under oath that Lindsay said to her, "I am so glad my children are safe." What does that tell you? That tells me that she really thought someone was after them. I wouldn't know how to handle a statement like that. Hell, I wasn't there, and it makes the hair on my arms stand up. Listen to it again after she goes through all the shit nobody needs to know.
She continued to look like the photograph you just saw. She was covered, tubes everywhere, the neck brace. Her emotional state was very neutral, a flat affect. But I remember vividly the first thing she said to me. Now, she had heard me for a couple of days. We had been praying together. And so when I went in on Tuesday, the 31st, she said to me as I held her hand to comfort her, "I am so glad my children are safe."
Was there any other conversation that you had with her?
Y'all remember, I think she was Mormon. I can't remember. It's been a couple of years ago. I didn't cover it. I didn't post about it or anything because I knew what was going on. And she put all her children into a river. Children that can't swim, a river that was overflowing. Nobody. Michael Phelps couldn't have survived that water. And they put her in a mental institution. And she kept saying the same thing. She was saving them. She was saving them. And yeah, she had some problems. I think she threw like 6 kids in there out of her car, one at a time.
I replied theologically to Lindsay and I said, "Lindsay, your children are safe. They're safe in heaven with God." And I held her hand throughout that conversation and we prayed for them.
Did she make any other statements to you?
She did. She alluded to having heard a voice. And the voice, according to Lindsay, told her that if she did not follow the command, neither she nor her children would be safe.
And did she indicate whether it was a male voice, a female voice, loud, soft?
She alluded to the fact that it was a male voice and it was persistent.
Any further conversation that you recall about that, not about general things,
That came up several times. I visited Lindsay minimally 14 times while she was hospitalized at the Brigham. And the voice conversation.
Preschool Granny says, hearing how hard she tried to get help, I think has made my mind change a bit. That's what I struggle with. Because at the end of the day, she killed her children. She did. There's no getting around it. She did. I think it's crazy that they give her exercise bands in the mental institution for her to exercise her upper body strength. I'm like, are they messing with her? Do they not have like free weights? And one thing that irritates me is that not one of these doctors have made it clear that there is a Grand Canyon gap between, Dr. Phil spelled it out perfectly, between postpartum depression, which is very common, and then psychosis. Psychosis is what they should really be talking about, but they keep making it sound like she was just having bad days and anxious about going back to work. What I also am very disappointed in with both the state and the defense attorney is, why did no one find it important to bring up her gynecologist, her OBGYN, the medical professional she went to and said, I think I'm pregnant. I took a test. Okay, let's get you up in the stirrups. Yep, looks like you're about this far along. Okay. That would have been extremely helpful to know what went on during the pregnancy, at the 2-week checkup, the 6-week checkup, and they never brought that person up. Never once. Why? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
came up several times during several of our visits.
Now, after Lindsay was transferred or cleared to go from Brigham and Women's Hospital, did she go to another facility?
She did. She went to Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital.
And do you know when that was?
That was roughly late February, perhaps around the 23rd.
And did you continue to see Lindsay at Spalding Rehab?
I did.
Do you know when she left Spalding Rehab?
In the late March, early April time frame, perhaps.
Okay. Now, Brigham and Women's Hospital and Spalding Rehab are under the same umbrella of hospitals. Is that right?
They are. So Brigham and Women's Hospital and Spalding Rehab are under the Mass General Brigham complex. So for me to visit Lindsay in Spalding, I was still within the same hospital complex, and her psychiatrist at Spalding, as well as the chaplains, advised me to continue.
You can't say what anybody told me.
Oh, sorry.
So
She doesn't get it. He's already told her you can't say something that someone else said to you unless I ask, did you talk to this person? You can't do the hearsay. Old girl's just not getting it. It's like she's been saving up her whole life for this. MJ said, good question. Stacy said, true. Why on earth would you not have the OBGYN up? Anyone that treated her from whence she got the EPT back through the ultrasound, I'm talking from salad all the way up to after dinner dessert. That would be the person that should have been on the stand. That would have proved the case either way. Unless this person, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That makes no sense to me. Above my pay grade is what I say.
when she was discharged from Spalding Rehab, where did she go?
She went to Tewksbury State Hospital.
And fair to say that that would be back around February. It's been a little more than 3 years, 3.5 years.
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, when you saw her in Spalding Rehab and in Brigham and Women's, you were acting in the course of your job. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you're being compensated, you're getting your paycheck and that type of thing. Right?
Yes.
How many times have you seen Lindsay at Tewksbury Hospital?
Perhaps 200 times.
Tell the jury why you continue to see her for 200.
Sustain.
Two 100 times. Okay. Perhaps 200 times. I wasn't expecting that at all. Yeah, they're under the same umbrella of the hospital. I wasn't concerned about old girl's paycheck. So how many times did you go way out of your way to visit Lindsay? Perhaps 200 times. Oh, wow. Okay. And the state objected and the judge sustained it.
Times.
Tell the jury why you continue to see her for 200.
Sustained.
So can you tell us how often on a weekly basis you would see her at Tewksbury?
Yes. When Lindsay was admitted to Tewksbury State Hospital, I continued to see her on a weekly basis. We had built up a very comfortable, respectful rapport, and I felt it was in her best interest to continue that as she healed. She was still in deep grief. She was suffering.
Sustained.
So
That opinion be stricken.
So did she express anything about her children and their loss over that period of 200 times that you saw her thereabouts in Tewksbury?
Objection.
No, overruled.
Yes.
Other jurors?
Lindsay talks frequently about her children. She loves them deeply. She carries immense grief.
Objection.
Look, the state is they just don't even get it. This is a member of the church. They're not going to, she's not a medical professional. She's been talking to her. It appears to me they became friends because she made a point to go see Lindsay. Is she just a gossipy lady and wanted to be like really hanging with Lindsay to get all the deets? Or did she really care for her? That I don't know this woman, so I can't say.
Overruled. Next question.
And has that continued to your observation?
It continues presently.
When was the last time that you saw Lindsay in Tewksbury?
Just prior to the trial starting.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Kamal.
Thank you. Excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh my. Oh my. So here comes the state. Wow, I can't wait for what they have to ask.
Morning.
You were talking about on January 25th, 2023, when you first saw Lindsay in direct examination, and you said that there were a lot of police officers in the area, correct?
Correct.
But you mentioned that some of them were security personnel from the hospital, correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that the security personnel for the hospital don't work for the state police, the Duxbury Police, or the Plymouth County DA's office, correct?
Correct.
So they're separate and apart from law enforcement, correct?
Yes.
And then are you also aware that on January 25th, 2023, there was a search warrant being executed to collect evidence from the defendant and from the belongings that she had at the hospital?
No, I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that that collection of the search warrant required state police and personnel from the crime lab to be present for the collection of evidence?
I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that following that, at any given time, there were only two officers, either Duxbury Police, State Police, or Plymouth County Sheriffs at her room, the defendant's room, at any given time?
I do recall that.
And they were stationed outside of her room, correct, in the hallway?
Yes.
So that the only time you saw this large amount of officers present was on the 25th, when there were security from the hospital and search warrants being executed, correct?
Perhaps.
Okay. Now,
There's no perhaps in this one, okay? As much as I can't stand the people with the prosecution, what she's saying is true. They were there because they were collecting evidence. They were serving search warrants. They had a lot of stuff going on. 3 babies are dead, and this lady's offended that she had to go pray in front of police officers.
you mentioned that on January 31st, 2023, you spoke to the defendant, and she told you that she heard a voice telling her that if she did not follow the command, neither she nor her children would be safe, correct?
Correct.
You wrote very detailed notes that are contained in the Brigham and Women's Hospital records regarding your interactions with Lindsay Clancy, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And in all of these notes that detail every time you interacted with her, you never once wrote that she told you she heard a voice or what that voice said, correct?
Correct.
And you also said that this voice, talking about the voice, came up in several of your meetings, correct?
Correct.
And you never once wrote about any of it in any of your very detailed notes, correct?
Well, Chaplain notes are not verbatim transcripts of patient conversations. I'm not there to evaluate the patient. I'm there to bear witness to their suffering.
Okay, but the question was, you did not document those statements in your notes, correct?
Correct.
But you did document some other statements in those notes, correct?
Perhaps.
For example, on February 6th, 2023, in a note that you wrote regarding your
The only reason I think she took offense to it is because she brought it up. That it was very busy outside. There was a lot of, now obviously there's hospital security. I mean, that's going to be all the time. There's always police at the hospital anyway, always. Outside of her room, inside of the room, they were serving search warrants. They were collecting evidence. But the fact that she brought it up, I think that's the reason it had to be addressed. I wouldn't have brought it up. I would have been focused straight on Lindsay. Trust me, all those dudes in uniform remember the day Crazy Cakes came in for some kind of fucking prayer vigil, okay? They remember that day.
Interaction with the defendant, you said that, or you wrote, Lindsay welcomed the visit and shared her fears of, quote, not being able to walk again, end quote. She continued to express her fears of how her inability to walk may make her vulnerable to others in the future. Do you recall writing that?
Yes.
Do you recall writing on February 9th, 2023, that the defendant was sitting in a chair adjacent to her bed and appeared to be visibly engaged, energized, and hopeful than in previous visits? Do you recall that?
Yes.
You also wrote in that note, Lindsay spoke hopefully of being discharged when the time arrives to Spalding, correct?
Correct.
And then in February 13th, 2023, you wrote in your note that Lindsay also expressed hopefulness in relation to her physical progress. She feels she has gained considerable physical strength and agility despite an inability to move her legs. She admitted that she feels, quote, deserving of this, end quote, in light of recent events. Do you remember writing that?
Yes.
Do you remember on February 16th?
Okay, let's look at old boy in the corner. Give me a second. If you guys look at the left side of your screen, old boy that's sitting behind the desk with his glasses in his shirt pocket is either he just ate a bunch of ice cream all at once, or this has given him a huge stress headache. Look at that. That's a thumbnail right there. I'm going to go, okay, that'll be for the next show.
That she feels, quote, deserving of this, end quote, in light of recent events. Do you remember writing that?
Yes.
Do you remember on February 16th, 2023, that you wrote in a note that the defendant expressed hopefulness with the news of her anticipated discharge to Spalding and seemed uplifted that she would be cared for in a facility with an excellent reputation?
Yes.
Do you recall writing on February 16th?
The Commonwealth, the state of Massachusetts, Duxbury, Plymouth County DA, the two prosecutors, the only ones that they could pick out to go try this case, never have their shit together. They're always ruffling through papers, tripping over their words, and I really don't know why Reddington's not objecting to this line of questioning. It's kind of bizarre to me. The lady is not a medical professional.
2023, that Paula, the defendant's mother, and Lindsay, the defendant, were playing a card game as they communed quietly, and that Lindsay expressed hopefulness with the news of her anticipated discharge to Spalding and seemed uplifted.
Yes.
And again, you've got all these details about her feelings and her thoughts and what she's doing, but nothing about the voices that you spoke of so many times, correct?
Correct.
And speaking of Spalding, you continued to visit her at Spalding, correct?
Yes.
In those conversations with her at Spalding, did she tell you that how in those first weeks at Spalding, that part of her physical therapy, she was working out with a yellow exercise band? No?
I don't recall her telling me that.
Did she tell you that during that time at Spalding, she reached out to a social worker there and asked for help filling out SSDI paperwork to get an income?
That would be beyond the scope of our conversation.
She didn't tell you those things?
No.
Thank you.
So
Little weird that she wants an exercise band to exercise with. Okay. Little weird that they provided it to her. However, asking for help to fill out forms because she's disabled, I don't think there's anything odd about that at all. You tell me what you think, please. Matter of fact, I'm going to drop the link.
Counsel has asked you about her filling out a form for SSDI. Were you aware of what expenses her family and were incurring as a result of her physical incapacity, paralysis, and being in the hospital?
From my experience with thousands of patients, I had a very clear idea of the enormous expense.
There's a difference between, as the district attorney very appropriately referred to, that your comments were about her thoughts and her appearance and her feelings. Is that correct?
Correct.
There's a difference, however, between privileged communications with a chaplain and observations of a person's feelings and thoughts, correct?
Correct.
Tell the jury what effect privileged communication has when someone talks to you personally as a chaplain.
Because I'm not a medically trained clinician, I approach patients in a vortex of trust. Some of our chaplains at the Brigham are ordained clergy. And so there's this understanding that when a patient interacts with a chaplain, the conversations are confidential.
Do you put them in medical records?
No.
The words, like Lindsay indicated that she felt uplifted, I think the counsel read that twice. Were those your notes, or is that what she said to you? Did she say, I feel uplifted, or is that your
was my
observation?
perception of Lindsay. It was not her words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Como?
You said you're not allowed to put the defendant's words in your medical records. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. It's not that I'm not allowed.
Okay, the Hamburglar's not getting it. She's just not getting it. This woman, whether you like her, you can't stand her, you hate her, whatever, she gets on your last nerve. You don't like the 70s haircut, name it, pick it, it's fine. She's not a medical professional. She's only there to offer comfort to Lindsay. Now, I've got a big ass issue with this rehab center giving her an exercise band, considering that's what she used on Cora, Dawson, and Callan. And the fact that she's supposed to be on a live watch 24/7. No one can be watched 24 hours a day. No one. Forget it. Not gonna happen. You give her that band, and if she is really wanting to do something to herself, well, she knows how to do it, and you just gave something to her. I would have a problem with that.
It's a conversation that's held in confidence with the patient.
Then why are there direct quotes in these medical records from the defendant?
Well, they're not verbatim transcripts.
No, not a transcript of the whole conversation, but you put phrases in quotes. For example, on February 6, 2023, where it says Lindsay welcomed the visit and shared her fears of, quote, not being able to walk again. So those were her words in your note, in quotes, in the medical record, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
I use my best judgment.
Okay. I would move to have these submitted as the next exhibit, the notes of the witness in her interactions with Ms. Clancy at the Brigham and Women's.
Any objection?
No.
All right. They may be admitted.
I have no further questions. Sorry.
Hey, Mr. Reddington, go ahead.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. May you step down.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to talk to her anymore. He's just like, all right, so be it. I think Spinelli is going to be something worth watching today. I think we could, if you want, I could stream it into Discord and we could all watch it together. Totally up to you. Radio God said, I really can't stand Fashion Bug. I'm telling you, isn't that strange when you can tell where people get their clothes? I was going for Talbots at one point, but I was like, no, she's a Fashion Bug girl. She's a Fashion Bug girl, I can tell. The other chick, I don't know. I was going towards Lane Bryant just because of the cut. And then I was like, she might be a fashion bugger too. Do they have Cato's in Massachusetts? Because some of those look like just plain polyester Cato's. All right, well, CBS Boston is saying that the psychiatrist that spoke on Wednesday, I believe, is probably the most important person for her defense. Their opinion, not mine.
My opinion is that she did have indeed a mental disease or defect. She had bipolar disorder with postpartum psychoses. In addition, she was unable to conform her behaviors to the rule of law, and she had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her act.
Lindsay Clancy's psychologist there testifying yesterday. She is not criminally responsible for the murders of her 3 children. The woman from Massachusetts has admitted.
I'm going to get myself in trouble. Because if you watch her mannerisms, which there's not many to watch because she's paralyzed from the waist down, watch her eyes, watch her eyebrows. She still has... the lights are on. No one's home. She still has crazy eyes.
To killing them, but her attorneys say Clancy was over-medicated and suffering from postpartum psychosis. A trial continues later this morning. The judge actually dismissed jurors earlier than planned yesterday due to what he called an unforeseen circumstance. CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Royfe is following this case closely and joins us now to, I guess, make sense of it all. Good morning, Rebecca. What did you make of the testimony from Lindsay Clancy's psychologist? Really, the nation has been transfixed by this story, and we all wonder what the proper outcome should be. So what did you make from what Dr. Zeisel said?
Yeah, good morning, Errol. So I think that this was the most important testimony for the defense here because the psychiatrist testified to this ultimate issue. The government in this case bears the burden of showing that she acted not only in a premeditated way, but also with criminal responsibility. And here we have a psychiatrist directly testifying to that ultimate legal issue, saying that she did not. She had a mental disease or defect. She had that bipolar disorder and psychosis that made it such that she could not appreciate right and wrong, and that she couldn't conform her conduct to the law. And that, if the jury believes it, establishes that she lacked that criminal responsibility and would undermine the prosecution's case.
So what she's saying is that this guy, who I picture as Colonel Mustard in the game of Clue, he's answered the question that the state couldn't prove. They keep saying that she's criminally responsible, and all they're bringing up, their expert witnesses, are people that are being sued by Patrick. You think they're going to say, yeah, I effed up. Yeah, I effed up. This guy comes up and he has spent more time with her than any of them. Just because the children have passed away now, I'm saying that lightly, we know what happened to them, doesn't mean that her illness ended that day. So other doctors have been with her, observing her, and so they know what's going on. They know what's cooking in the skillet. And so when he said, oh, this is what's going on, she couldn't appreciate, strange word, I'm using his word, I wouldn't have worded it this way, she could not appreciate how wrong what she was doing was. I mean, think about it. Was she just suddenly cured once she jumped out the window? No. She still has whatever's going on. It's been 3 years.
Now, in the end, Lindsay Clancy will either go to prison, to jail, or she will go to a psychiatric ward. On cross-examination, Dr. Zeisel said Clancy had intrusive thoughts, but she did not specifically tell him that she heard a voice telling her to kill herself. Can you explain why that might matter to the prosecution? What difference that could make?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the strongest evidence that she lacked criminal responsibility. I mean, if she's hearing a command hallucination, essentially a voice telling her she has to do that, and the jury believes that, that is almost, a sure thing that she doesn't have that control over her actions and ability to conform her conduct to the rule of law. So if the prosecution can undermine that point, then perhaps along with some other facts that they've proved, this could establish criminal responsibility. So essentially what the defense was doing there was saying she didn't have these hallucinations. She only came up with that after the murder.
Now, the defense could potentially rest its case today. Would you recommend Lindsay Clancy take the stand? Is that something that might help her case or perhaps be more problematic?
Yeah, I mean, so,
would it help? If she's truly crazy, is that going to help? I mean, do they want the jury to see how messed up in the head she is? Could you just imagine the state talking to her?
Generally, it often can create more problems. I think in a case like this, it's interesting because there are arguments both ways. I mean, the ultimate issue is her state of mind. And so obviously the jury is thinking, why isn't she getting up there and telling us what her state of mind is? And so, even though there is absolutely no burden and she has the right not to take the stand and the jury will be instructed in that way, there's some pressure for her to take the stand in this moment. That said,
I don't think she could tell the jury her state of mind on January 23rd, 2023, because she was psychotic. She told the chaplain, "I'm so glad my kids are safe." That's not a well person. I mean, she's not on trial for something she did last week. So knowing her current mental state, I don't think would help. Can she remember? I've never read, I've never heard if she can remember what she did. I don't know. Britt said, "What do you think about how she was more aggressive with two of the kids and then came back to the baby? She must have been somewhat back." I thought about that myself. We talked about that yesterday morning because there was excessive pressure put on their little throats, okay? Not so much on Callan. And maybe it's because she had her Apple Watch on at the time and she knew what time it was and she knew how close Patrick was going to be to getting home. And so she left Callan like that. And then that's when, was it the iPhone or the Apple Watch caught her like running up the stairs. And that's when we start the swiping, the neck, all that stuff. She had an arsenal of medication. So I really don't know. Well, I'm not even going to touch that one. Then she takes off the Apple Watch, which people say she didn't. Well, she obviously did. And then out the window we go.
Pressure for her to take the stand in this moment. That said, I think the risk is far higher because under these circumstances, the prosecution has the opportunity to cross-examine her about every last fact. And if they find some inconsistency, it looks like she's not telling the truth, or in any way make her look like she is, somehow lying about this or had a more organized way of thinking at that time. That's an opportunity for the prosecution. I think at this point, the defense has done a very good job of undermining the prosecution's case and probably will opt not to put her on the stand.
A heartbreaking case all throughout. Rebecca Royfee, thanks for helping us understand it all. Appreciate it.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. Radio God said, "How did she strangle her children without raising her heart rate?" I only know what I have heard on Silence of the Lambs and other documentaries about people that go into psychotic episodes, that their heart rate doesn't change. I don't know why. Patrick had the same clothes on. He changed his shoes because of the snow. I was telling Angel P about this. I used to live in the Northeast. You're going to wear your snow boots, and then to go into the store, you're going to change shoes. That's just a very common thing. I mean, that's all. I mean, I don't think that he had some grand master plan. I mean, I did see he had like on a sweater, and then he had on an overcoat. Probably got too hot in the car. I mean, when it's cold outside, I run my heat, I mean, to the point where I've got meat falling off the bone, you know? All right, you guys. Well, trial is in an hour. Come see me in Discord, and I will stream it in there, and we can all chat together as a fam and listen to this last day of the trial. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for getting up with chickens and being together. Love your comments. Love your open minds. And, well, just all of you individually as super cool people. See you in Discord in a little bit. Ta-ta.